guys, what is going on? Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Deborah with Purusha Holistic Wellness, and we are going to do a money reading. What? So this is, has been coming across my path a lot lately. Clients, friends alike. Just kind of looking at the energy of money and vibes, especially for people who have been putting lots of intention, lots of work into whatever they're building and creating, because this is about our sustenance. You know, we need money as that exchange. And so as we've been putting in the time, the energy, the practice to kind of grow our abundance, our wealth, etc., let's see how the fruits of our labor. Okay, so stinging nettle, so very interesting. So it's kind of like the bittersweet, you know? I mean, I'm hearing, especially if you are an entrepreneur or growing your business, something along those lines. It's like, you know, even if you're just climbing the ladder, right? Looking for a raise or promotion, there's going to be the good, the stuff that really empowers you. And then there's going to be the stuff that kind of sucks, right? It's how stinging nettle is an incredibly medicinal plant, but it is also, you know, it can sting you. So it's kind of like the good with the bad. You know, it does kind of feel like there might be spaces that you can readdress something. Maybe a idea, concept, that you have kind of looked over, maybe a collaboration, working with someone specifically that you've kind of looked over. You guys might have had a rocky past with that crater energy. This is kind of just like when, you know, I mean, we have visions, fantasies, how things are going to play out, but then actually in the day-to-day, you know, the practical world, it can be a different vibe. And so sometimes there are bumps and bruises along the way, obviously, right? And I think what I love about this energy for you, that mushroom energy, is it is really kind of growing through the muck of things, right? And mushrooms in and of themselves are incredibly medicinal, right? They can be used for so many different things. They're great for our brain, cognitive function, you know, having that clarity, that stimulus. You know, obviously there's other forms of mushrooms too. But you know, it's just, to me, that value is tapping in, especially with how this energy reads. It's definitely tapping into the abundance, even though if it is a little bit mucky getting there, you know, it's not as picture perfect. It's not as beautiful. This, you know, the snake is feminine energy. It is, what I was hearing about this is it's a lot about how you're attracting to the fluidity of life, you know. It's not stagnant. It's not linear, right? It's actually twists and turns and curves and maybe sometimes in our fantasy world, it can look like this stuff that feels a little bit harder to grow or learn through, or it looks a little bit messier than what we want it to, but it doesn't mean that it's like a bad thing, right? You know, if anything, that gives something its essence and its character, right? A well-worn blanket that has history behind it, etc. But you know, this, I think that, I mean, so this is about money though, right? Because the practical of it is we need money to grow and sustain. So, you know, I'm definitely feeling like, you know, there is some restriction. You're working hard, you're working diligently at like what you're building, but you're also seeing, just kind of like with this stinging nettle, that some things work, some things don't, some things take longer than what you wanted it to. But I love this because it is about, you know, really achieving that sense of like happiness and fulfillment with the work that you're putting in, you know. I love this card. It's so idyllic, right? Like just the family on the beach, surrounded by love. You know, who doesn't want to be in that picture, right? But, you know, that's kind of like that value of what stability provides us, right? Not just living to work, but working so that we can live, so that we can enjoy our life, our abundance. And abundance looks different to everybody. You know what I mean? Some people want to have a certain lifestyle, or, I mean, we all want a certain lifestyle, I should say. I was going to compare the, you know, but it got lost in translation. So we'll just put that one on hold. Okay. There's a lot of fear around this, uncertainty. You know, this might be keeping you up at night. The way that you're communicating. Yeah, it's kind of messing with you. Like, it's all messing with you because this is such like mental energy. And then with that temperance, that's adding the emotional component, you know? So temperance is like, yeah, we're working hard, and you know, it does make you feel empowered on some level. It makes you feel strong and like, hey, I have a really good thing going. 8 of Coins is all about that energy, right? But when things aren't manifesting at the rate as to which we want them to, it's scary. It's scary. There's something about this. Let's look at that. Why? There's something about the communication. I don't know. It's coming from like an ungrounded space. Why? Okay. I think you kind of need to, to me, this is about being a little bit more decisive, you know, and this kind of steps back to the curvature. I love this. Okay. So manifesting, right? It's not about it being linear. We don't like sit there and make mathematical equations in order for it to happen. You know, yeah, there is like a formula, so to speak. Ask, believe, receive. But there's also that component of like taking action, putting yourself out there, making sure you're like positioning yourself right place, right time, right people, right connections. You know, especially as it relates to wealth. That is the material world. It is in the practical. So we do have to have these plans of action, right? But it almost looks like you're stressing yourself out so much. And so you're spending too much time in that deliberation phase versus taking action. And then there's like conflict, right? And you know, 3 pages. So like page energy, it's like, I always think of it as like baby energy, right? It's kind of like when we're in the beginning stages of learning or growing through an experience. And it's almost like, oh no, I'm sorry, that was 2 of Coins, my bad. But basically, even with those 2 pages, you know, it's kind of like stepping it up a little bit, being more decisive, communicating, yeah, dude, from that place of strength, right? Think of, like, look at how much different this vibe is, this King of Swords, King of Blades in this deck. Between that page, you know, he knows what's up. He's like so bored, he has it all figured out. Where this guy, he's like, you know, he's on the beginnings of his journey. So I'm hearing for you, it's, you know, I think you have to be a little bit more confident, a little more decisive. Even with those people that are in your environment, act as if you have it, right? That's another aspect of manifestation. You ask for it and then you act as if you have it. Vibe in that energy. And honestly, when we are like living out of that space, out of that thought, out of that vibration, it's going to take away all the fear and the worry and the anxiety. Not that that won't pop up, right? Because it will. But it's like, you know, here's the thing. I think that you're on a good path. I think you're doing, you know, the right things. I think that you need to not be so worried about like what I'm hearing. Like I said, let me clarify that, but I hear it as like revisiting maybe an opportunity that you had in the past. Yeah, dude. There is someone that, yeah. So it's basically like saying that there is someone that can like help you along on this. That lover's energy, it's going to totally change the tune. It's going to change the vibe. And you probably know this. You probably know it might be, you know, a partner or, like I said, someone you're collaborating with, something along those lines. You know, maybe you have to work with someone in your company in order to get that promotion or raise, etc. So this is like, and I feel like there is good harmony, good relationship between you two. Maybe some stuff happened that made it a little weird or awkward, or there's some uncertainty. That can also stem back to that communication that we were talking about earlier with that Page of Swords. But I feel like it's like, you know, don't be your own block, essentially, from bringing that money in. You know, there's ways to kind of shift the balance, shift the wheel. The wheel is always turning. It's always in motion, you know. And I've often heard the Wheel of Fortune likened to karma, you know. It's kind of like the seeds that we've been planting. It's going to dictate as that wheel turns, like the fruit that it bears. So it's basically saying, like, don't be afraid of it. I feel like there's this, yeah, Knight of Wands. Okay, so you might be very passionate and very vivacious about like this way to gain wealth, to gain money, etc. You know, but be mindful, you know what I mean? I think there's always steps to the process. You're vibing a little bit like, you know, it's not a bad, yeah, it's just like, it is self-protected. This to me is like, I want to do it all by myself, you know, and while that's a great intention to have, at the same time, you know, there are people that end up helping us out along the way. But if we kind of self-protect, right, this Four of Pentacles, then we can miss out on opportunities, you know. There he is, all alone, sitting on his pentacles, sitting on his money, right? Deep in thought, reflection, right? Kind of like, you know, that where did I go wrong type vibe. But not even, honestly, it's like, this guy's running away from the friends, and this guy's not even paying attention, right? So it's finding that way to, you know, even if we know something is not going to be our end point, there's always steps to get to the next space. And I think that when we're working with manifestation, I was going to pull out an oracle deck to confirm. Seven of Swords. What do you want with a Seven of Swords? Okay. Manifestation. Seven of Swords, Four of Wands. You know, I mean, I think it's, the thing about the Seven of Swords energy is it's very independent. It's, you know, oftentimes looked at someone who's being sneaky or kind of like hiding what they're doing, etc. And that's not always good or bad, right? In this situation, it's like that energy is actually hindering you. Well, usually Seven of Swords energy hinders us. Sometimes we do have to protect what we're building, etc. But it almost feels like it's coming out of a place of defensiveness versus like, okay, you know, everybody has their share of the piece, right? Everybody gets the piece of the pie. And, you know, how can we work together in order to build that community, in order to build that environment, while getting everyone towards their individual goals, you know? That's what life is all about, right? It's that ebb and flow. It's that balance. Like, yes, I feel like you're an incredibly passionate person. What you are growing is going to happen. It is going to manifest. I feel like you can see, sense, and feel that. We'll do this. We'll do some confirmation oracles. But I feel like, you know, you might just, you know, it's just like anything, right? What is going to make this easier for you? How can we actually like honor this endeavor in the most fluid way? So you're not like, so it's not extra, excuse me, come down. It's not extra stress, anxiety, fear. You know, that's the beauty of this kind of fluidity that I was talking about. It's listening to what is going to be the easiest route to get you from point A to point B, right? Deep trust. It's hard, right? It's hard to know. I mean, I think especially if there is a little fear, anxiety, it's really hard to have that essence of trust. But, you know, your inner voice is telling you, and I think that you know the steps that you have to take. But I think it's also about, you know, really kind of, it's provoking fear, right? It's kind of touching on something where maybe you're not believing in yourself, or you have this deep-seated, you know, wounding coming out of this, right? Like our finances, our money, our stability, it's attached to feminine energy. So feminine energy is our intuition. It's our ability to like love and nurture ourselves, to believe, to have that faith, that trust. And then the masculine is what takes all of that energy and brings it into form, right? It's the action piece. And so when we're dealing with our finances, we have to believe that we can do it and that we deserve it, you know, or else it's never gonna come. And it feels like you're there. I think that you've been putting in the right intention, the right effort. But I think that you're kind of missing some of the pieces that could just make this a little bit easier. Instead of like a hair pulling, like, I want this to be over, screw this, you know, throwing your hands up, etc. This is more about like trusting the process. Spirit's challenging you to listen to your intuition, go with those gut feelings, even if they don't feel comfortable, or your ego's kind of like, well, I don't want to do it that way, or whatever. You know, you kind of have to gauge whether it's your ego or intuition, because that is going to bring you your heart's desire, right? That is going to bring you that extra money in your pocket. Whatever you're working to grow and build, you know, it is here for you. It's just allowing that energy to manifest and listening and following, you know, some advice on how it might be a little easier to get there. So thanks so much for listening. I hope this helps build and grow, you know, your financial assets. Wishing lots of blessing and abundance for you and your family. Thank you for your time, energy. Definitely make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I want to build the community and grow and connect with everyone. So appreciate you. Have a lovely day. Lots of love and blessings.